Allow me to describe the educational approach that we're taking in this program that you're currently studying. We look at cybersecurity operations as moving towards standardization, where we will see professionals being produced in programs around the world that come out with similar knowledge, much the same as you see computer science majors in one university looking roughly the same as computer science majors in another. Or in the case of another discipline, say the law, you have obviously different implementations of the law in various countries at various universities, but overall the curriculum covers many of the same meta subjects. And we're going to be seeing cybersecurity moving towards that sort of standardization. There's some history behind standardization that goes back to the late 1990s when one of the people in the videos that you'll be watching this module began to understand that by integrating critical infrastructure online, we were opening up vulnerabilities that had never existed before. This resulted in action here in the United States where U.S. President Bill Clinton authorized Presidential Directive 63, which was the first time this country had grappled with cybersecurity as a problem and recognizing a need for a national strategy. That directive launched a number of programs that involved NIST, NSA, developing educational standards and promoting centers of academic excellence that would agree to teach these standards. That program started with just 7 universities in the United States. At this point in time, there are over 200 that align with standards that have been developed by NSA and NIST. Why is this important? Well, as we move toward professionalization of the field, which I see coming and we'll be talking about later, we need to have some common body of knowledge that a cybersecurity graduate would have an understanding of. So the Center of Information Assurance and Cybersecurity at UW is also a resource center for this movement. There are about 4 or 5 of them in the United States. As a resource center, we have broad contacts with industry, government, academia, and we form partnerships around the world to disseminate best practices in cybersecurity education. Some of the countries that we've worked with include Wales, Germany, South Korea, Canada. There are others. We've had students attend our programs from South Africa, Moldova, and Ghana. And so we have a broad reach. Our goal is to continually participate in standardization processes, and we bring that knowledge into every program we create. We see our center as a pedagogical engine where students come in and graduate as a step towards the profession that they want to pursue. And I say multiple professions because cybersecurity is no longer a single entity. When I began teaching, there was just one career path in cybersecurity. Now there are 31 that have been identified by NIST. Specializations abound, and we've seen the field expand. So that leads me to assert that we will never, in any of our programs, this included, be able to cover the entire field. And so when we design curricula like this, we consider the student and the kinds of people that would be coming into our classes, the possible goals that they might have for themselves, and then we take a slice of that body of knowledge to develop the curriculum that we provide in a particular course. We've talked earlier about the curriculum content. I'd like to show you that it not only aligns with the NIST framework of identify, protect, and so forth, but we also are aligned with a very well-known model in cybersecurity called the McCumber Cube. This particular model has been around for decades. It was used in the old mainframe days to help consultants think through the cybersecurity needs of old mainframe systems, but it has persisted in its usefulness to this day. You probably have heard that no model is perfect. Some models are useful, and this model has been extremely useful. On the front face of the model, it shows different information states that information must pass through in any system. It's either in transmission, it's being stored, or it's being processed. You're looking at confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and we'll talk about that later. Those are the kinds of services that cybersecurity can offer to a system or an organization. It's not just about keeping secrets, it's about keeping data safe from being manipulated and keeping it available when it's needed. And finally, look at the controls on the bottom face of that cube. It talks about human factors, policies and procedures, and technologies. What does that sound like? And so we know that the Macumber cube aligns very nicely. It's a model that's been around for a long time and has been very useful to consultants who've solved cybersecurity problems. But we know that it aligns very nicely with the curriculum construct that we talked about earlier of policy, procedures, technologies, etc. Our programs are for the CISO what an MBA would be for a CEO. So we invariably take the view from the top of how will someone manage the cybersecurity function within their organization.